Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, Carol and Joel. Good Shabbos, Eileen. Good Shabbos, Gordon. Still have 2 more minutes.
Did we get on a different way tonight?
Different what?
A different way? It was different when I signed in.
What was it?
Maybe it was you.
I don't know. We'll talk later. I'm here. That's all that matters. We're here.
Okay. What you got? I don't know. Well, you can tell me what. How
The sign in. Usually, I just click it and join in and put in the password, but it asked me for an email or my password. I never saw that sign in before.
I don't. Anybody else?
Yesterday's email.
Maybe there's something. Maybe there's something just about you they were suspicious for some reason.
I'm sure. There's no doubt in my mind.
I agree.
Do you know this hysterical thing that goes on when I come through the Whitney Donut drive-through for my tuna fish? And I'll say, I want, and Jody says, I got you, right? All right, Rabbi. I mean, I don't even, pretty soon, I'm just going to say, and she's going to already have it.
She'll know.
That's funny.
That's a good thing. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely. By the way, they move. That drive-through moves. I mean, they really, they get you through it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes there's so many people in the drive-through, they're out on Whitney Avenue.
Oh, yeah. Quite a business.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, and I just got a chat from Gordon Fain. How are their chocolate chip cookies? They're okay.
Oh, they're excellent.
No, I can't go that far.
Okay.
They're too big and they're too many calories.
Well, that's true.
Okay, so Shabbat Shalom, welcome everybody. And Aaron Lakin, who, believe it or not, is going to be having his bar mitzvah ceremony next week, is going to be davening. And so if anybody can't hear me, because I'm going to go a little distance away, tell the ritual director, chat the ritual director, or wave or something like that. So here's the story. It's Shmini Atzeret. It's Shabbat and Shmini Atzeret, and I'll be talking a little bit later about what that means exactly. But so we don't do the usual first part of the service. It's what the Luach calls substantially abbreviated. So it's going to be a shorter service tonight. And that means that we're going to begin on page 23, and we'll read responsibly in English. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to affirm your love each morning.
Your love each morning, your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
Bless your works, Adonai, your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed in yours, reign forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish, all the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted, am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes, I have heard the despair of my attackers.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God.
They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fragrant to proclaim my Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw.
Ke'eres Yeskeshetuli Nai Bechatzrot Elohim Yah Yenuvun Beseva Deshenim Verananim Lehagid Ki Hashanah Tzuri Velo Avlatab. Please rise for the Baruch Hu, page 28. Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. We'll read the middle paragraph together in English. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, your word bringing the evening dusk. You open with wisdom the gates of dawn, design the day with wondrous skill, succession of seasons, and arrange the stars in the sky according to your will. Tzvaot, you create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal God, your sovereignty shall forever embrace us. Praised are you, Adonai, for each evening's dusk. Amen. Page 29. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu V'shachbeinu u'v'kumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha li'olam va'ed Ki hein chayenu li'orech yameinu uvahem negeh yomam v'layla V'havatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim Shmo. Page 30 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol vavcha, v'chol nafshecha, Uvechol meodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'elech, asher anochi mitzavcha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha v'beitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha, Ukshartam yotal yadecha, v'hayu l'totafod beinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharech. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day you shall take to heart. Teach them, diligently to your children, and recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. We'll read the rest of the Shema. V'hayim shamoa v'natati et hashamayim et yevula ukshartem v'limadatem uchtavtam lezot beitecha v'yomer Nayel Moshe le'mor Al kanfei vigdehem ledorotam, uzchartem, vasitem, lamantis gruvasitem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher otzetem. Adonai Elohechem, Emet. On page 32, we'll read the first paragraph together in English. We affirm the truth that Adonai alone is our God, and that we are God's people Israel. God redeems us from the power of kings, and delivers us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgment upon our oppressors and retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding. God has maintained us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, guided us to triumph over mighty foes, and exalted our strength over all our enemies, vindicating us with miracles before Pharaoh, with signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. Lasting freedom, and led them through divided waters as their pursuers sank in the sea. When God's children beheld the divine might, they sang in praise, gladly accepting God's sovereignty. Moses and the people Israel joyfully sang the song to you. Mi chamocha, Adonai yimloch leolam va'eh. Amen. Do we want to do Hashkivan?
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'hamidenu Malkeinu lechaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha V'taknenu B'yetzatova milfanecha V'hoshienu V'ma'an shemecha V'hagen ba'adenu v'hasam aleinu oyev dever v'cherev v'rav v'yagon v'haser satam u'panenu u'me'achareinu u'tzel kenafecha tastirenu ki el shomrenu matzilenu atah ki el melech hanun chanun v'rachum atah Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom me'atav yad olam ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai ha'pris v'kashalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Can I just give him the certificate now? Please rise for Vishamru, page 34. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam b'risholam.
Vishamru
b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam b'risholam. B'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam b'risholam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam b'risholam. Vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam b'risholam.
Yikadav, Yikadav, Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Yamad Yivrakute, Yamlich Malchute,
B'chaye Yomecha U'chaye Decho B'Yis Yisrael Ba'agala U'b'zman Karev B'meru Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Le'omaya
Yivarach, Yishtabach, V'par, V'trama, V'naseh, V'tadar, V'taleh, V'talal, Shmei Kedusha,
Brichu
Le'elam, Mikol Birchata, V'shirata,
Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran V'yoma V'meru remain standing, but we will turn to the Festival Amida, which is on page 41b, and we'll read from page 41b to page 44. We have to include the passages both for Shmini Chag Hatzeret, the festival of Shmini Hatzeret, and for Shabbat. So, please be careful to include both the passages for not Sukkot, but Hashmini Chag Hatzeret, and I'll be explaining that in a few minutes, and for Shabbat.
Kivo Shabbat Mikom Malachto, Kivo Shabbat Mikom Malachto, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. El Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanara, El Elyon, Gonei Shamayim, Ba'aretz. Magen Avot Bidvaro, Melchayim Etim B'Mamaro, Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kamohu, Ha'meniach L'Yamo, B'Yom Shabbat Kadsho. Kivam Ratzah Lehaniach Lahem, Kivam Ratzah Lehaniach Lahem, Lefanav Navot B'Rava Pachad, Me'odeh Shmo Bechol Yom Tami Miyom HaBrachot El HaHodot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShabbat U'Barech Shvi U'Meniach B'Dusha Yamikdu Shnei Oneg Zecher L'Maseh Bereshit.
Page 48, Eloheinu. Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Ritzei, Ritzei, V'Nuchateinu, Kadesheinu,
B'mitzvotecha,
B'tein Chelkeinu, B'Toratecha, Samcheinu Mituvecha, Samcheinu B'Shuatecha, V'Taher Libeinu, Li'avtecha B'Yemet, Chilenu Adonai Elohim, Yahava Uvratzon, Shabbat Kachecha, Yanuchu Yisrael, Mekadeshei Shemecha,
Baruch atah
Shmo.
Kodesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Yikra v'yikra Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamadi v'akirtev, v'yamnech malchutev, v'chayachon v'yamechon, v'chayedecho b'Yisrael, b'galav v'yisman kari v'yimeru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Olam Me'omaya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishabach, v'yifar v'yishmam v'yanaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalav v'yitalav shmei d'kudusha.
Brichu.
Le'elam miko v'rchata v'shirata, tishbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yoma v'yimeru.
Amen.
Titkabel tzlot-hon, v'ud-hon, d'chol Yisrael, kadam v'hon divishmaya v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi Shlam Rabbi Min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimeru.
Amen.
O say shalom bruma kuya say shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimeru.
Please rise for the Kiddush. Since it's Shmini Atzeret, we say a special Kiddush which is found on page 50. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am v'rom banu mikol ha'ashon v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava Shabbatot limnucha u'moadim l'simcha chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom haShabbat hazeh v'et yom hashmini chag ha'atzeret hazeh Zaman simchatenu bi'ahava mikra kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat u'moadei kachecha bi'ahava v'ratzon b'simcha v'sason hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat v'Yisrael v'hazmanihim. And even though it will seem strange, but I'll try to explain in a minute, we're going to say shehechianu about 4 lines from the bottom of the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'hiyamanu v'hivna b'zman hazeh. Amen. Please be seated. And that must have been a good year for that grape. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes tonight trying to explain some things about this holiday. Because it's really a very complicated holiday, and so let's go back a couple of steps. There's Yom Kippur and Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah in that order, in order of sacredness, and then there are Shalosh Regalim. There are 3 holidays. Regalim has to do with the word regel, which means leg, walking. So there were 3 pilgrimage festivals in ancient Israel, when they would go to Jerusalem to go to the temple to make special sacrifices. And so Pesach you're familiar with, and Pesach has 8 days in the diaspora, that is when you're outside of Israel. It's 7 days in Pesach. It's 7 days in Israel for Pesach. Shavuot only has 2 days in the diaspora. But Sukkot is people often think it's 8 days. It isn't, it's 9. But, and some of you have heard me talk about this before, but I think it's so complicated it bears repeating. So we have the first 7 days, and then in ancient times, Shmini Atzeret, Shmini comes from the word, Shmini means 8th. Atzeret means of assembly. It really means to sort of stop doing. And so what would happen is the Israelites would come down to Jerusalem. They'd be there for this 7 days of great joy. It was the harvest festival. They were feeling good about life. They didn't have to work for a while. It was a terrific time. It was called Hechag, which means the festival. So we think of Sukkot as sort of this afterthought after the high holidays, and it's really hard in some ways because the high holidays take tremendous efforts, and they're the high holidays. And then, a few days after Yom Kippur, you already got Sukkot. But in ancient times, Sukkot was the most popular happy holiday. There's something in the Talmud that talks about the festival of water drawing. We don't know exactly what it was, something with water and lights or something like that. And people said if you never saw that, you never saw anything. So it was a very big deal. So you had 7 days, and the seventh day was called Hoshana Rabbah, and then you had Shmini Atzeret, and then everybody would go home. Okay, so what happened? What happened is, and I can only think, and maybe somebody else will be able to think of another example, but I can only think of 2 examples in Judaism where people came up with something. That is, all the holidays and everything like that come from God, or they come from rabbis, God bless them, but I can only think of 2 rituals in Judaism that come from people, and one of them is Simchat Torah. So let me explain that for many centuries there were different ways of reading through the Torah every year, and one of them was to read Genesis into Exodus, right? And that was it for 1 year. And then, and I may not be getting this exactly right, but something like, the rest of Exodus and Leviticus or something, and then Numbers and Deuteronomy. If I'm not exactly right, it's something like that. So the Torah was only read over the course of 3 years. It's not like what we have about reading through the Torah every year, even if we're reading a third. So we have a different kind of triennial cycle. And if you're in an Orthodox shul, you'll read the whole Sedra every Shabbos, but you'll complete it every year. But that was not true till the Middle Ages. So when they had this, the people said, this is really great. We're finishing the Torah every year. Let's dance, right? Let's celebrate. This is really cool. And rabbis said, no. We don't like dancing. We're boring. We're staid. Rabbis don't like joy. We're not into that, right? We're into serious study and Torah and Midrash and stuff. And who wants to dance? And the people prevailed. I should have seen that board meeting. That must have been really something. But anyway, the people prevailed. Can anybody think of another example in Judaism that doesn't come from God or the rabbis or the Bible or the Talmud? I can think of one other ritual. It's not a holiday. Giving presents on Hanukkah. That's a different kind of story. I wouldn't have thought of that. But I'm talking, yes, Cherny.
The unveiling.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, right? Unveilings. By the presents, that works. That's pretty good. But people didn't come up with Hanukkah, right? The people came up with, and so Cherny, since you did that so beautifully, why? Why did people come up with that?
Because people needed to mark something after the year.
Right.
They needed.
Right, or during the year. Remember that in Israel, they'll even do it after 30 days. 30 days. Which I think is emotionally a very bad idea. I really do. I mean, 30 days, you're only starting to get your wits about you. I think that's much, much too soon. But the idea of an unveiling is you go back to the cemetery and you're together. Okay, so, Cherny, one of the things about it is not only to mark the time, but to go back for the first time to unveil the statue and to be together when you're doing that, because we know that grief is one of the most isolating things in the whole world. You're sort of alone. Nobody feels it exactly the way that you do. And to do that together is a very beautiful thing. And it didn't come from the Talmud or the Torah or rabbis, right? It came from people's hearts, which is a really very beautiful thing. And so, people will sometimes say to me, well, Rabbi, we'd like you to come, but could we do it without you? And the answer is absolutely. It's a very short ceremony. And one of the reasons it's such a short ceremony is it's made up, right? I mean, it doesn't have a long tradition. And at first they didn't know from that in certain places in the world, and everybody eventually got the point. So here's 2 things that I can think of. Can anybody think of another one? Because I can't, except for Hanukkah presents. Can anybody think of something else? So that to me is interesting. So what happened was, now you had to have, how can you make up a holiday? You can't make up a holiday. Then the rabbis got involved. said, all right, you want a holiday? We'll give you a holiday, but we're going to have to we have to diminish Hoshana Rabbah, that seventh day, because you can't have 3 days. You can't have Hoshana Rabbah and then Shmini Atzeret, the seventh, the eighth, and then a ninth day that we're adding. Simchas Torah. You can't have 3 days of a holiday. That's especially after all these other holidays. That's just crazy. So what they did was they diminished the importance of Hoshana Rabbah, that seventh day, which is really a radical change as far as Judaism goes. So this morning, we had quite a time in the minyan, because Hoshana Rabbah still has some of that sacred festival aspect. So we were literally going back and forth between the two prayer books, between the weekday, because it's sort of been diminished, and the Shabbat, because it's still sort of a festival. And so if you saw, when I said, please include the passage for Shmini Atzeret, you'll see on Simchas Torah, right, that Simchas Torah is really the second day of Shmini Atzeret, because they couldn't make up a holiday. They said, oh, we're extending Shmini Atzeret to a ninth day. So even though Shmini Atzeret means eighth, now it's eighth and ninth. So, and the reason why they had to do that was you can't really make up a holiday. So the people insisted, and the rabbis found a way to sort of stretch it. But just to tell you how complicated this is in our world, so I had this wonderful idea the other night that how are we going to do Simchas Torah this year, because of all our COVID restrictions and everything. It's very difficult, and I've been thinking about this for months, and I never had one idea. And the other night I had an idea, and I emailed a friend of mine, Rabbi Michael Farbman, who's at Temple Emmanuel in Orange, who plays the guitar, because we all know that I don't play the guitar, so at least not well. And I said, would you like to, since it's all Zooming anyway, excuse me, let's Zoom together for Simchas Torah night. And he loved that idea. He says, that's great. You know what, it will be nice, the camaraderie of the two synagogues and collaborating and everything like that. He says, so we'll Zoom together Friday night. I said, what? I said, Saturday night. I said, Simchas Torah. He says, no, we do Simchas Torah on Friday night, right? So this is really very complicated. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pull that off, but we'll do something else together. But so even within our own community, you see how complicated it is. So that's a short little explanation, unless somebody wants to ask something about that, David.
So when did that happen?
It happened sometime in the Middle Ages, 1300s. I don't know exactly, something like that.
How long before it was widely accepted?
Oh, it happened pretty fast because people wanted to dance. In some communities, it's like everything else in Judaism. We don't really know because it's the Middle Ages. We don't know about how fast that happened. But it seems to, from what I think, at least in Ashkenazic stuff, it happened pretty fast because it was sort of a day to, I don't know how to say it. Let your hair down. Those of us who can still do that. What? And drink schnapps. So there's a thing of, like, if you have an aliyah on Simchas Torah morning, you have a little schnapps, and everything like that. We're not going to do any of these things, this year. Purim. Like Purim? Like what?
Whatever the college game.
Oh, beer pong. No, not beer, like Torah pong. No, I can't go there. All right. Okay. Well, you know what? It sort of is now. They got it from us. We've been doing Torah pong for a very long time. Okay. Anyway, thank you for listening for that short description.
Rabbi?
Yes, please.
How did Yisker get into all this?
Yisker was also, thank you, I think that must have been Jerry. I recognize the voice even though I can't see. Okay. Yisker was also, seems to have been, you know what? That's another example, except for that one came from rabbis. It seems to have started after the Spanish Inquisition. We're not sure, and I've seen different explanations in different encyclopedias and things like that, but it seems to have happened sometime around then because there were a lot of terrible things that happened. Spanish Inquisition, the Crusades, and everything like that, and they were more example of the people, but it is an example of an innovation.
V'nemar, v'chai Adonai, v'melech al kol haaretz, v'yom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
As we recite the mourner's Kaddish, Israel's hallowed prayer, we insist, despite our woe and anguish, that life is good and life's tasks must be performed. Help us, O Lord, to rise above our sorrow and face the trials of life with courage in our hearts. Give us insight in this hour of grief, that from the depths of suffering may come a deepened sympathy for all who are bereaved, that we may feel the heartbreak of our fellow human beings and find our strength in helping them. During this week, we'll observe the following yard sites: Herbert Edkind, father of Randy Burns; Ruth Friedland, aunt of Sandra Weissman; Reuben Gunapolsky, father of Shauna Wildstein; Richard Leaf, husband of May Margolis; Israel Chensachovsky, father-in-law of Israel Dvoretsky; Lee Gilman, brother Cherney Gilman. I don't think this is right. Wait a minute. I think that was last week.
Yes.
That was last week. Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry. I think I have the wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. Rhoda Berwick, mother of Michael Berwick; Sadie Sherman Gilman, mother Simeon Gilman; Rita Kesselman, mother Robert Kesselman; Jeffrey Litto, son of Betty Litto, brother of Jason Litto; Robert Marks, father of Joanne Dragonoff; Ralph Zook, father of Robert Zook; Rachel Ide, mother-in-law of Phyllis Ide; Jack Litt, father of Ellen Litt; Murray Prosky, father of Irene Jacobs; Meyer Blodinger, father of Sharon Pappas; Eleanor Goldslager, mother of Gail Greenberg; Ronnie Grolnick, cousin of Blossom Rose, friend of Joel and Carol Evans; Diane Myers, friend of Marty Rudnick; Isidore Spector, father of Morris Spector; Maxwell Alderman, father of Abby Kleinberg; Herman Epstein, father of Rhoda Cohn; Arthur Kligger, father of Marcy Ressler; Rochelle Lewin Kalm; Paula Steinberger, grandmother of Arlene Feynman; Irving Bushell, father of Rhoda Bernard; Harvey Fetterman, husband of Rhoda Bernard; and Aaron Goldstein, father of Mindy Sonnet. In solemn testimony to those of broken faith, may those in solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the generations one to another, let those who mourn now rise to magnify and sanctify thy holy name. Mourner's Kaddish, page 52. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma Divra Pirute, V'amlich Malchute, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, Uvchaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'galau, V'zman Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Umei Omai. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudashah, B'richu. Le'elah min kol birchata, V'shirata, Tushbachata, V'nechemata, Da'amiran, V'alma, V'imru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Romav. Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Please be seated.
Good Shabbos and Chag Sameach. Please join us tomorrow morning for the service of Shemini Atzeret and Yizkor, which will begin at 9:30 a.m. Tomorrow evening, the service for Erev Simchas Torah will begin at 6 p.m. And Sunday morning, the service for Simchas Torah will begin at 9:30 a.m. The services scheduled for this coming week are morning minions Monday through Friday begin at 7:15 a.m. Evening minions Monday through Thursday begin at 6:45 p.m. Friday evening, October 16th, the service will begin at 7:30 p.m. And Saturday morning, October 17th, the service will begin at 9:30 a.m., which will include the bar mitzvah ceremony of Aaron Lakin, son of Michelle and Brian Lakin. Please note the following meetings and events for the coming week. There will be a Board of Ed meeting on Monday at 7 p.m., and there will be a men's club meeting on Tuesday at 7 p.m. The Rabbi's Bible class takes place every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. following Minyan. Please join at 6:45 for the evening Minyan, and they're both on the same Zoom link. The Machzor returns will be Sunday, October 18th from 1 to 3 p.m. and Sunday, October 25th, 9 to 12 p.m. TBS is hosting a document shredding fundraising event on Sunday, October 25th from 9 to 12 p.m. in the parking lot. The cost is per box. Hard drive and computer recycling is available at an additional cost. For more information, please contact Hinda at fundraising@tbs.com. And upcoming TBS Adult Ed programs are Wednesday, October 28th at 7 p.m. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, one of the great Jewish religious philosophers of the 20th century, presented by Rabbi Skolnick. For Monday, November 23rd at 7:15 p.m., there's a virtual tour of the Jewish Museum in New York City. Reservations are required. Contact Brian Lakin. And for Tuesday evening, December 22nd, a joint program with Congregation Or Shalom of Orange, presented by Rabbi Alvin Winehouse on how his family was saved from the Shoah by a Japanese diplomat. For up-to-date temple information, please remember to check our website, tbshamden.com, and our weekly temple tablet email newsletter delivered every Monday. And please buy gift certificates. Chag Sameach.
We'd like to thank Aaron for davening so beautifully, and I can already say this a week in advance. We're looking forward to his bar mitzvah ceremony with great anticipation. By the way, we should also mention that on that Sunday after will be the bat mitzvah ceremony of Lily Shulman Green. This was a bat mitzvah ceremony that had been rescheduled from, I think it was May, because of everything in the virus, because we thought that you're back in May, that how could still things be bad in October, and here we are, and from everything I can tell, we're going to be sort of in this situation for quite a while, and so I think I was talking about different days of the week and stuff like that. I think God created Zoom on the sixth day because I don't know, it was one of the great miracles of all time. So at least we can be together. So we'll call on Aaron to lead us in Adon Olam on page 54.
Adon
Olam asher malach b'terem kol univra li'eit nasa b'chefzo kol
Azai melech shemo nikra.
Azai melech shemo nikra. Arei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu hoveh v'hu yeh b'tifara V'hu yeh b'tifara.
V'hu echad.
V'yein sheni v'ham shilo v'havira. V'li reishi v'li tachli. V'lo ha'oz v'hamizrach. V'lo ha'oz v'hamizrach.
V'hu eli.
V'chai go'ali v'tzor kevli v'yetara. V'hu nisi nosli minat kosi v'yomekra. Minat kosi v'yomekra. Ado afki ruki v'yet ishan v'yahira. V'imruchi v'yati Adonai li v'lo ira. Adonai li v'lo ira. Please rise for the closing prayer. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May he who makes peace in the heavens grant peace unto us, and unto all Israel let us say amen. Shabbat shalom, Chag Sameach.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to ask Aaron to say the Motzi, Baruch.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam haborki lechanim ha'olam.
Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, so Gordon, what did you write me here? In terms of women and Judaism in America,